Let me ask you something. Have you ever argued with a partner about money and it felt like it was about way more than money? Or maybe you just shut down, or they just shut down, or the same fight keeps happening over and over again. Here's the truth most people miss: it's not just about money, it's about your inner child meeting their inner child. Today, we're talking about how your inner child wounds show up in your money and in your relationships, because money is one of the biggest triggers in partnerships. Not because of the numbers, but because of what money represents. Money usually represents safety, control, freedom, and worth. And before we go deeper, I do want to say I am a therapist, but I am not your therapist. This is for education and self awareness. Now, here's what most people don't realize: the way you handle money in your relationship is often a replay of what you learned as a child. When you're growing up, you weren't just learning about money, you were learning about power, safety, conflict, communication. Maybe money caused tension in your home. Maybe one parent controlled it. Maybe there was instability or silence around it. And your brain made meaning of all of that. So now, as an adult, you don't just handle money, you often react to it. And in relationships, those reactions can sometimes be magnified. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in a real partnership. One of the indicators, or what it looks like, is the spender versus the saver dynamic, right? That's when one person spends to feel safe, or it's a way that they soothe. And then the other restricts to feel in control. And both people think the other one is the problem. But really, it's just two different inner children's like surviving, right? Survival strategy. And then those two inner children are clashing. So, money arguments that aren't really about money usually happen in relationships when you have this struggle. You think you're arguing about spending, but underneath it's really, I don't feel safe, I don't feel heard, and I don't feel supported. Money becomes the language your wounds speak through. Another indicator is power and control struggles. If someone grew up feeling powerless, they may try to control money in the relationship, or they feel triggered when they don't have control, which can create imbalance, resentment, or tension. Another indicator is avoidance and shutdown. So, like, one partner wants to talk about money, the other avoids it completely. That's not just a communication style, that's your nervous system trying to protect itself. So, for some people, money conversations feel like danger. Another indication is guilt and shame and the resentment cycles. So one person may feel guilty for spending, and then the other person feels that resentment, and it carries of just having to carry the financial responsibility. And both are silently reacting from old emotional wounds. So if this feels familiar, it's not because your relationship is broken, it's because no one taught you how to understand what's underneath the behavior. You're not just two adults managing money, you are two nervous systems, two histories, two inner children trying to feel safe in the same space. And when you don't recognize that, you tend to blame each other. But when you do recognize it, everything can shift. Here's where the work begins. The first thing you want to do is you want to get curious instead of just reacting. Instead of, why are you like this? Ask, what does money mean to you? You also should share your money story. You want to talk about like how money was for you growing up. This builds empathy and it builds it fast. If I know where you're coming from, then when things come up in our relationship, I can react from a place of empathy and it helps the conversations become less defensive and more problem solving because you're not just seeing behavior, you're seeing the origin of it. So if you understand where something is coming from, it's often easier to tackle it as a couple. The next thing is you want to identify your roles. Are you the avoider? Are you the controller? Are you the overgiver? Are you the spender? No shame in this, just awareness of where you're operating from. You also want to regulate before you communicate. And this is so important. If you are triggered, you always pause. You cannot have a healthy money conversation from a dysregulated state. The next one is you want to build safety around money together. So that the key is this is just not budgets or plans, but it's about emotional safety. You want reassurance, transparency, teamwork, all of that. And you want to do that together. So at the end of the day, money doesn't break relationships. Unhealed patterns do. But the moment you start understanding what really is happening underneath, you stop fighting each other and you start understanding each other. If this resonates, comment, we're breaking the pattern together. And if you want more connection on relationships and money, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.